In a game where Armageddon exists and is legal, even in casual formats, we have to wonder, why are cards like Tolarian Academy banned? And even though we already know why Tolarian Academy is banned, it's because it's not fun, you still have to think, why are the rest of the cards in the command list banned? And that's what we're here to answer today.
It's banned for a very good reason.
Exactly. You should watch our last episode. My name's Gramps.
My name is Chilibin.
And here today we're going to talk about the Commander ban list, Magic the Gathering's most casual format. And we're going to see a card from our lovely wheel of cards and try and answer the question, why in a very casual format with 26,000 cards is this card banned? And should it remain banned with all the power creep that's been going on?
Yeah, I just had a thought to a future state where we whittle that wheel down to when there's only 2 things on it and we still have to spin it.
Yep. Yes, we do. And I hope that for my really bad sake, it's Golos and Paradox Engine because they're the only 2 episodes I want.
Man, go through this whole thing before we get there.
To the cards that I want to talk about.
So funny.
So you can find us on Twitter at Compliance Show, Patreon, TikTok, YouTube, Pornhub.
No.
At Casual Compliance. It's just pictures of our feet.
No, I blurred those out.
Yeah.
Are you taking your own photos?
It's just for the blur.
Damn it.
At Casual Compliance, if you have any thoughts about the cards that we talk about, you can also email us at casualcompliance@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Let's get to the wheel.
Let's find out who's our lucky winner today.
The scoreboard at the moment is 0-4 or 0-5 or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, 0-4.
0-4.
Yeah.
I don't know how many episodes we've done anymore. I'm disappointed just in general.
Yeah, this is number 5. And they've all so far been
atrocious.
Big old band.
Well, not okay.
The episodes were good.
The episodes were...
The cards were bad. What have we got?
Good episode! Prophet of Kruphix, baby.
Oh my god. Okay.
Alrighty. Hide in the input. Let's talk about Prophet of Kruphix, shall we?
Okay, please. Tell me what this card does. Because
recording.
Up to now, I only know this card because you've talked about it, you've referred to it by name in the context of the show. I don't know what it does.
Prophet of Kruphix is one of my favourite cards, and it's a modern staple at times.
Is it still modern legal?
Yes.
Okay.
So, Prophet of Kruphix...
Wait, yeah, because standard is the one that rotates, yeah.
Modern doesn't really rotate. Prophet of Kruphix. It's a 5-cost, 3 green and blue.
Mm-hmm.
Creature, human, wizard. Rare printing of Theros. Untap all creatures and lands you control during each other player's untap step. You may cast creature cards as though they had flash, and it's a 2/3.
Bruh. That first ability on its own is why it's banned.
Well, no, because there's plenty of cards that let you untap your creatures on each
creatures and lands. Thank you.
There's plenty of cards that let you Unwinding Clock.
That's artifacts.
Yeah, but artifact lands.
Yeah, but
Microsynth Ladders.
That's different. That's a bit of a setup.
Yeah, look.
Yorn, God of Winter, lets you untap your lands when Yorn attacks.
Yes.
That's once, and it happens on your turn.
Yes.
This?
Yep.
Every single turn.
Yep.
That's bad.
It's a creature. It's a 2/3 creature in Simic. A lot of creatures in Simic. It's a 5-cost creature, and it can't be your commander because it's not legendary.
Mm-hmm.
I think all of those things in place. If Gifts Ungiven was legal, you'd find it straight away.
Yeah. But also, green is full of creature tutors. That's like what green tutors for.
Yes. But in general, Magic Commander play, this is 1 of 99.
Yeah, but read that first effect again. It's creatures and lands every turn getting untapped. You are basically playing your turn whenever anyone is playing Magic.
I think it can be unbanned.
That's not fair. And then it also gives your creatures flash? What if you've got you could also have an effect that's like, you can play creatures from the top of your library. Cool, they also have flash.
Yeah, Augur of Autumn.
Yeah, great.
Do you want to get to the research
I
phase?
really do.
Because
You're gonna have to. You're pushing a rock uphill here.
yeah, because cards that do the similar things are mostly banned. But
Yeah.
I think I can Sisyphus my way out of this.
We'll see.
If it's this
Sisyphus.
that's the joke. Sisyphus doesn't get out of it. Sisyphus is still pushing the rock uphill now.
Yeah.
I am in trouble here.
Yeah.
If we couldn't get Tolarian unbanned, please.
You're insane. Oh boy, Prophet of Kruphix seems busted. Anyway, Chilibin here with another Scryfall syntax segment for you all. Today we're going to look at regular expressions. These are often used by software engineers, which I happen to be, so hopefully I can help you understand how to wield them when it comes to deck building. Regular expressions, often referred to as regex, are a tool for essentially doing pattern matching in a sequence of characters. Scryfall has some good basic syntax instructions on how to use them, as well as a larger guide in their help pages. So let's say we're looking for cards that let you play from the top of your library. You might do a search in the Oracle text for the phrase "from the top." That'll give you 218 cards. However, it includes things like abundance, which is more of a reveal from the top until type of effect, which is not quite what we're after. And that's where regular expressions can help out. This might look like a lot, but I'll break it down for you now. The slashes at the beginning and the end mark either end of the pattern to try and find within the Oracle text. The play cast you see with the vertical line between them inside the parentheses. That means find either the word play or the word cast at this point in the phrase. The period character is a wild card that says any character can go here. There can be a letter, a number, symbol, anything. And the asterisk right after it means that the last character can appear any number of times. So the combination of a period and an asterisk basically means any character, any number of times can go here. What that gives us is something that'll find every card that contains a phrase that says, you may play/cast, insert any number of words here, from the top. When we run that search, it looks like this. Now we're down to 42 cards, and it's a lot more of what I would have expected. Things like, you may cast a spell from the top of your library, you may play lands from the top of your library, you may cast goblin spells from the top of your library. And there you have it. That's regular expressions in Scryfall. They are notorious for being a bit tricky to work with, even when you work with software every day, like I do. If you try to use them and you feel overwhelmed or confused, just know that I've been a software engineer for over a decade, and I still have to look up the documentation every time I go to use one. Back to the episode.
Hi, welcome back. My name's Gramps. We've just had our research phase, and you've heard from Syntax Daddy about how to better search your decks and build better decks on Scryfall.
Probably.
And anything that uses Scryfall syntax. So, Moxfield, for example. Yeah. Not a sponsor, never will be a sponsor because we don't know them and we're not going to ask for sponsors. But if they do ever sponsor us, thanks Moxfield, we use you a lot.
Yeah, dude.
Our entire collection's on you. Yeah. Prophet of Kruphix.
Please.
As a refresher, 3 green and a blue, creature, human, wizard, rare from Theros. Untap all creatures and lands you control during each other player's untapped step. You may cast creature cards as though they had flash, and it's a measly 2/3. Pretty weak card.
Yeah.
Was printed 2013, September. Was banned January 2016, which means it had 3 years unbanned, because Commander was around 2013.
Yeah. Yep.
Prophet of Kruphix creates a gameplay pattern where the controller of the card can interact and meaningfully play during each other player's turns. This inevitably leads to one player monopolizing playtime without definitively ending the game.
Yeah.
Basically, the player that slams down a Prophet of Kruphix first has 4 turns a game.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, I think, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit in my research here because I remembered that a card called Seedborn Muse exists.
Yes.
Which is over here. Seedborn Muse, 3 green for a 2/4 spirit. Untap all permanents you control during each player's untap step.
Which is what in my Atla Polani deck.
Yeah. But
it's what I was thinking about
the difference there is that's where it ends. It doesn't let you do shit at flash speed on other people's turns. It's just like, oh, you can untap your stuff if you've got instance or flash stuff in hand, which you're building a deck with Seedborn Muse you might do.
Yeah.
but it requires you to build your deck that way. It's not just like, oh, you can just slam any fucking creature you like out on other people's turns and
Unless
have
you've got like a
three,
ley line down,
but also to have 3 turns to do that.
Yeah.
Before it's even your turn.
Yeah.
Because Seedborn Muse also is going to untap your mana rocks and artifacts and enchantments. You don't tap enchantments, but you know what I mean. Like it'll untap everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I again sort of hit this one before we did research. But I looked at Seedborn Muse and it made me go, wait a second.
Yeah.
This is basically the same thing.
It is.
But it's crucially missing being a flash enabler.
Yes, but if you're playing... Like, I'm playing it in a Naya deck where I want creatures to be able to block.
Yeah.
But if you're using Seedborn Muse really in good function, you're playing it in Simic decks where you're playing a Leyline of Anticipation, which you can start the game with on the battlefield without paying for, as well if it's in your opening hand.
Yep.
That and Seedborn Muse down together, you've got a Prophet of Kruphix, and you're still paying 5 mana.
True.
If you're doing it properly, I guess, which is when you have it in your hand. But these two exist, and even like Seedborn Muse, even without the flash, exists. There are creatures that have flash.
Yeah, but I think, like I kind of was getting at, it requires you to build your deck a certain way to enable it being a problem. Whereas Prophet of Kruphix just is a problem.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's on its own. It's like you untap all your lands and creatures, but also you can play creatures on everyone else's turn.
Yeah. So you see, Seedborn Muse is one of my arguments for really it should be unbanned. Like, if and it will be an argument in a later video with another card similar, but untapping things, unwinding clock, untap draw all your artifacts, and you're using it in a specific use case.
Yeah.
Seedborn Muse, you're going to be using it in a specific use case.
Yeah.
The fact that Prophet of Kruphix, it is Simic, so it is, it does have its specific use case.
Yeah.
It's still, the flash is really the part that might break it, but I don't think the untapping is like...
Well, so here's an interesting thing that I only thought about after reading some of the notes on Prophet of Kruphix. So there are cards that say things like, opponents' lands don't untap on their untap step. Prophet of Kruphix gets around that because those cards only care about your upkeep, your untap. But on other players' untaps, doesn't matter, they still untap.
Yeah.
So there's not really a way to turn it off. And like there's a couple of interesting notes here that says creatures and lands you control untap at the same time as the active player. You can't choose to not untap them because untap is an unskippable game action. And effects that state a creature or land you control doesn't untap during your untap step won't apply during other players'
It's not your untap step. Okay.
Exactly. So like, even if you were to try and counter this with an effect like that, it wouldn't work.
Yeah.
You would still be able to do it for 3 people's turns.
I think, and looking at the card by itself on its merit, I mean, it's a 2/3 creature. It's susceptible to a bolt.
Easily removable.
So easily removed. It easily counterspelled because countering creature spells is one of the cheapest kind of counter spells if you're looking at specific ones. Fight spells exist. There are so many ways to remove Prophet of Kruphix, also in permanent ways as well.
Yeah.
That, the value of it is that person might only get 1 round of it. With that being said, though, like I know I'm building less and less targeted removal and more just heavily into my mechanics.
Yeah, sure.
So this card would very much prey on cards that don't have targeted or board wipe removal.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're not building that stuff into your deck, you're kind of accepting that cards like this can go
Well,
off.
you're generally accepting that you're going to let your opponents do things.
Yes.
Like putting more targeted removal in decks is something I've been thinking about recently. Just like, watching different people talk about how they build decks and what sort of strategies they want to have answers for versus less common strategies that you're like, if this comes up, like, fine, we'll figure it out. But like removing creatures is a pretty common play pattern. But yeah, so I also went looking for like, let's try and find Simic or greater cards that have an untap all effect, and there were 2.
Can I put money on one of them? Because I didn't look that up. I'm pretty sure Mercfiend Liege.
That's one.
Is one of them. Actually, I
What's the other one?
I can't think of the other one.
The other one is a Wooburg card. It's Nagila the Blade Blossom.
Oh,
So Merc Fiend Liege to start is a 2 and then 3 hybrid Simic.
Yep.
So green or blue. 3 of those +2 for a 4/4 horror. Other green creatures you control get +1/+1. Other blue creatures you control get +1/+1.
Yep.
And then untap all green and all blue creatures you control during each player's untap step. So just creatures, but you're untapping them all every time.
Yeah.
If they're all mana dorks, which definitely is a green thing you could do,
Yep.
that's kind of a similar effect, but again, it's just untapping, making them slightly bigger so they're harder to remove, and that's kind of where it ends.
Yeah.
Nagila is a 2 and red for a legendary creature, human warrior, so this could be your commander if you like. 3/2. Whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a 1/1 white warrior creature token that's tapped and attacking. Interesting wording. And then Wooburg, untap all attacking creatures. They gain trample, lifelink, and haste until end of turn. After this phase is an additional combat phase. So that's where the untap's coming from. It's like the traditional sort of extra combat, untap them all kind of combo. It's interesting that it says whenever a warrior attacks, you may have its controller create a warrior, because that works for opponents too if they happen to be running warriors.
Yeah.
But why you would give them another one, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, group hug.
Yeah, I mean it's from Battle Bond,
Yeah,
so
there
you'd
is.
be also be
Give the
partnering
person,
with your friend there.
Good set.
Then I sort of expanded the search towards, let's look at all commander cards that have untap all in their Oracle text and that are permanents. Because like instants and sorceries, great, they come up, but there are 45 total. Classic stuff like Aurelia the War Leader, but that's just an extra combat effect. There's a whole bunch of stuff in here. There's a Karlak, but that's what that does. Mercfiend, Nagila. The ones I sort of pulled up here, Ahabi Caleria, which is from Dominaria United Commander.
Okay, yeah.
So DMC.
DMC.
1 green white for a legendary elf archer, 1/3 with reach. Untap all archers you control during each player's untap step. Whenever an archer you control deals damage to a creature, you may pay 2 to draw a card.
That's not bad.
But it's untapping archers only.
Yeah. And there's not really anything that turns everything into archers.
Not really. What do you make all Maskwood Nexus?
Yeah, Maskwood Nexus
make them all creature types.
They're not easy to come by. Maskwood Nexusi.
No.
Nexusi.
Nexusi. Let me tell you about that Nexusi.
Come on, baby.
Seedborn Muse, we talked about that.
Yep.
3 green for a 2/4 to untap everything all the time. And then Wilderness Reclamation, 3 and a green for an enchantment. At the beginning of your end step, untap all lands you control.
I like that.
That's not bad. Like it's just at the end of your turn, just refresh your lands, but then you still have to. You
Go
still
through the
got
rest.
a limitation on how much magic you can play before your turn comes around. And like we said, Yorn, God of Winter, didn't look that up, but its effect is whenever it attacks, untap all snow permanents.
Yep.
And the reason I say that is because I forgot that before when I said what it does. It's not all lands. It's
all
just
snow
because I run it in a deck where all the basics are snow.
Yep. Yeah, all snow permanents. And that's the best thing that they did was unban, like, that was an single snow lands.
Yeah.
Like, they were, yeah. So I guess we're pretty clear that, you think it definitely should remain banned.
Well, it's just a bit too much. Like the fact that it lets you do a bunch of shit on everybody's turn, and that is not like a limited effect. That is just going to be the case while Prophet of Kruphix is out.
Yeah.
It's not like, until your next turn you can do blah. It's like, no, all the time.
No, you're doing this forever.
And you can put that with protection. You can like give it Shroud. You can phase it out. There's ways to
the bloody Tamios, Tivars.
Yeah.
Phase it, shore up.
Yeah, do some cheap blink effects just to like make it a blocker and then flip it. Like you could get around removal.
Yeah, you can protection it.
I went down the road of again Commander Spellbook. Let's have a look at infinites. Let's just look for combos, things like that. There was only a couple, and they're honestly like kind of janky.
Just kind of John stuff.
Well, because like you kind of don't need extra shit to make this card a problem.
No.
But this one is like, okay, you've got Dramatic Reversal in hand, which is a 1 and a blue instant, untap all non-land permanents you control. You've got Prophet of Kruphix on the battlefield, as well as Ruther, Mercurial Artist from Strixhaven.
Yep.
which is 1 blue-red for a 1/4 legendary Orc Shaman. Pay 2 and return it to your hand. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control. You may choose new targets. The way this one works is you activate all mana-producing non-land permanents you control. All mana-producing non-land permanents, so rocks, like artifacts, etc.
Dorks.
Activate all of them by tapping them, adding at least 3 blue-red.
Yeah.
So 5 total. Cast Dramatic Reversal for 1 and a blue. That will untap all your non-land permanents, artifacts, creatures, etc. Activate Ruther by paying 2 and return to your hand, copying Dramatic Reversal.
Oh, okay.
Resolve the Dramatic Reversal copy. So the original's still on the stack.
Yeah.
So you put Dramatic Reversal on the stack. While it's on the stack, activate Ruther to copy it. Resolve the copy first. Untapping all. That's where you actually untap all your non-land permanents. Activate them again, adding 3 blue-red again. Cast Ruther by paying 1 blue-red, because Prophet of Kruphix lets you flash.
Flash, yep.
Yep. So you cast that and then you just repeat. And if non-land permanents you control can tap to produce at least 4 blue-red, this combo nets infinite mana.
Nice.
Because you're gaining more than you're spending.
Right.
You get infinite enter the battlefield and leave the battlefield. Obviously, infinite magecraft, infinite mana, non-land permanents you control can produce infinite storm count, infinite untap of non-land permanents. But then I went for Seedborn Muse. I was like, hey, let's give it a fair shake here. It also has some combos in here. They're not infinites, but they are let's shut the game the fuck down.
Yep.
They're things like opponents can't cast spells, lands do not untap, opponents' lands do not untap, permanents your opponents control do not untap. If you do anything like Seedborn Muse, Mycosynth and Kill Switch. I haven't actually got these up to like read through the combos, but these are the sorts of things you can do with Seedborn Muse. There is also one right at the bottom, which has 1 deck on EDH Rec that includes this combo. It is a 5-card combo.
Yep.
I'm trying to think the best way to read this out. So Seedborn Muse is what we're talking about. Untap all permanents you control during each player's untap step. You have prerequisites. Narset's Reversal in Exile.
Oh, Narset's Reversal again.
Exiled by Isochron Scepter. So Isochron Scepter is a 2-cost artifact with imprint. When it enters battlefield, you may exile an instant card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your hand, and you can pay 2 and tap the Scepter to copy that exile card and play it. So you can just do that every turn.
Yep.
You just tap it. Who gives a shit? You've got Time Stop in hand. I can't actually. That's not helpful. Time Stop. 4 blue instant end the turn. Can I close that tab? Thank you. So you got Time Stop in hand. You've got Isochron Scepter, Seedborn Muse, and on the battlefield, Teferi, Mage of Zhalfir.
Yeah.
2 blue for a 3/4 legendary human wizard with flash. Creature cards you own that aren't on the battlefield have flash.
Yep.
So we're bringing flash back. Yep. Why not?
We're bringing flash.
And each opponent
in Commander, by the way.
Each opponent can cast spells only any time they could cast a sorcery. So basically, no one can touch you if you do this.
You can't do anything right now.
Yep. So you also need to have non-land permanents that can be tapped for at least 6 blue. So pretty high investment for this combo.
But Commander's a long game.
Yep. Steps. 1. During your opponent's upkeep step, Seedborn Muse untaps all permanents you control.
Yes.
Great.
Easy.
Cast Time Stop. Now, mind you, this is on their upkeep, so Teferi is turning off their ability to do anything, basically.
And before draw, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So cast Time Stop, end the turn. Immediately. With Time Stop on the stack. So it hasn't actually resolved yet. No. So the turn's still happening. With Time Stop on the stack, activate Isochron Scepter, casting a copy of Narset's Reversal, which copies the Time Stop and returns it to your hand, but does end the turn. Then you repeat on everyone's turn.
Oh my god!
That's the most interesting way to do infinite turns that I've ever seen. It's not that you're just repeating turns for yourself. You're actively turning off every player's turn in order.
So they're having the worst thing is the opponent's having the untap.
Yep. But they can't instant speed.
They're not getting past the upkeep.
Yeah, and they can only do things at sorcery speed. That's such an interesting way to do that.
Wild.
And that's legal, but it's a fair amount of setup.
Yeah, but it's fun. I'm gonna do that.
I kind of don't mind that.
It's not bad, isn't it?
Yeah, because
You know an easier way to do that though?
what?
Prophet of Kruphix.
Because Prophet of Kruphix is like, you play it, it's like, okay, cool, I get where you're going with this. If I see like a couple of these pieces come together, I'm like, surely not.
Surely not.
No.
You watch me start playing the mace
Isochron and the
like,
time stop, but
he's
like,
not.
because so many times when someone has an infinite turn loop and they're like, I'd like to demonstrate the loop, here's what happens. It's just take an extra turn after this and you're producing more than that costs and you're just doing that every turn.
Yeah.
And you're still susceptible to instant speed interruption. And it's basically just, I'm going to now have a bunch of turns. You guys have to wait for me to resolve those how I like.
You guys go get a coffee.
But this is like, you like put the pieces together, and if someone like is good at Magic, they're going to work this out.
Yeah.
But
Us.
but
Just us.
but the fact that you're going time stop on the stack, copy it, but return it to hand, is fucking wild. You're not.
What's gonna be really funny is like you wanna watch me play the mace once, and you're gonna be like, no.
But you can do anything with that. But as soon as you exile time stop with it, I'm like, no, sorry, now set's reversal. I'm like, fuck off. I'm gonna concede.
Yeah, it's scoop.
I'd let it happen once. I'd let you do it to one person, and if they don't catch on, I'm going to explain it.
Okay, well,
That's so sick. That is actually like, I get annoyed by a lot of infinite combos and like loops that shut a game down. But
that one takes effort.
That's so
That's a lot of
satisfying.
effort. That's a fun one.
Just be like, yeah, I'm going to let you start your turn. You're going to be like, oh, I have to wait till my main phase before I can do anything. It's like, you're not going to get.
You're not getting a main phase.
You're like, what do you mean?
Yeah, time stop. Time stop the time stop. So that time stop goes back to my hand, but the other time stop still resolves.
Yeah. So fucking cool. Oh, I love that.
So how would you fix Prophet of Kruphix to make it legal?
Remove the flash. Straight up. Like, that's Seedborn Muse. If you remove the ability to play creatures at flash speed, I think that's it, right? That's the only difference.
Yeah, okay. No, I would agree. I would agree. Remove the flash, but also if you...
Because Seedborn Muse is untap all permanents.
Yeah.
So it is Prophet of Kruphix minus flash.
Yeah.
Minus creature flash, rather.
Well, because Prophet of Kruphix is lands and creatures.
Yeah.
So Seedborn Muse is almost... If you take away the flash, Seedborn Muse is strictly better.
Yeah.
In reality.
But Seedborn Muse costs how much?
5.
4? 5?
Yeah, 2 green and 3.
Right.
Whereas Prophet of Kruphix is
5.
green, blue, and 3.
Yeah.
So like, you know, I think there's so many ways to remove Prophet of Kruphix.
Yeah.
There's so many ways to stop Prophet of Kruphix. There's so many ways to interact with creatures on the battlefield. Even without like building your deck full of targeted removal, there's creatures that bounce Prophet and
Yeah.
the color identity it lives in, being Simic, does mean that there's a lot of creatures and a lot of counter spells and a lot of protection. But that's just Simic.
I mean, think about like games that you've played where just through like not drawing the right stuff or whatever it might be, you haven't been able to do much.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Yeah.
This is like the inverse of that, of like there's one player monopolizing game time, which is what they talk about. But like I've had games like that and it is deeply frustrating.
It's like when you blood moon yourself.
That's, well, look, that's self-inflicted and illegal. But like I've had games, and you know, we talk often about like respond to board state, not biases or prior experiences.
Yeah.
I've had games where I've been targeted because of what my commander is, and it's instead of actually having a conversation and going like, well, what does that deck do? It's just like, well, I've seen Tivit be a CEDH winner. It's like, yeah, but mine is 90% full of voting cards because I find that interesting.
We're doing an election.
Yeah.
Not
and I'm
pivoting.
Like that deck is, I'm going to play the part of a corrupt politician. Mostly because I'm rigging votes, not because I'm like going nuts with artifacts. There is a bit of that, but that's not the point.
Yeah.
And those experiences are just so frustrating. And this feels like it would just do that every time.
And I guess, you know, once, if you say, because it, like I've said a few times, not the commander, but it is in the part of the 99, but if you get that onto your board, your power level goes from like equal to everyone to just up there. Like you've gone from equal to I'm now control the game.
Yeah, imagine if like you biased your creatures towards things with enter the battlefield effects that were, you know, removing things or, you know, destroying or exiling or like all sorts of weird effects you can do, right?
It's a game enhancer without a guaranteed game winner. And I think that's one of
Yeah.
the keys is if we want a bomb like that, you
Yeah.
want it to be a game ender, but Prophet of Kruphix doesn't really imply the game's going to end soon.
Yeah.
It just implies that that person's going to have
They're going to be
3 more times fun than everyone else.
they're just going to be annoying.
Exactly.
And like it's the same thing with like board wipes. It's like play a board wipe, but have something to follow it up with.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with this. It's like if you're going to put that down,
Yeah.
you better be about to win.
Yeah. Play Microsynth Gladys and then Larry Nevins, knowing that the 2 other players have creatures that will come back the moment they die, and then lose the game.
Yeah. I'm so happy I did that.
So
It was so funny.
I still think it can be unbanned because I still think there's plenty of removal, and I think as a game where you have a discussion about the deck you're playing before you play, or you should be having a discussion about the deck you're playing before you play, you would say, I've got Prophet of Kruphix in this, and then you can make the assessment of like, well, I'm not going to play Llanowar Abomination. I'm gonna play something that has more removal.
Yeah, I'm going to go with my mono blue or bullshit.
Exactly.
Just copy a bunch of spells.
I'm gonna play Slivers. Like, I'm going to cascade down and hope for the best. But maybe I'll put Seedborn Muse in Slivers.
That'd be a choice. Because you make them all mana dorks. That'd be a real choice.
It's off flavor though, so I'm not doing it.
And I appreciate that about you.
I
think like if the way that you make this unbanned is telling people to do a rule zero conversation about this one card every time,
yeah,
you should probably not play it.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get what you
like,
mean.
You're not going to go through every card in your deck and be like, here's the disclaimer.
What if it was a legendary creature and it could be a commander?
I feel like that's worse, because then you just have immediate access to it whenever you fucking want. Are you kidding?
I didn't think that was going to
Get
go very
real.
well for me. Oh, far out. I've been Gramps.
I've been Chili Ben.
Find us on TikTok, Patreon, YouTube, Casual Compliance if you're listening to us. If you're not listening to us, you can listen to us. And if you listen to us while you sleep, please let me know what your dreams are.
You keep saying that. It's getting weird.
I just want to know, like, what are you seeing? I listen to H Bomber Guy when I sleep, and I don't dream, and I haven't dreamed, and I'm 30 years old. So
yeah, you know what's wild? Like, having just had dental work, like we still don't know how anesthetic works. We just know that it does, and that scares me.
Have you tried reading the anesthetic?
No.
Reading the anesthetic explains anesthetic. Also Twitter at Compliance Show.
Yeah, the one that's different that we forgot to say. Yes.
That's all right.
Like and subscribe.
And if you're going under anesthetic, listen to our podcast.
That'd be weird.